Welcome to another episode of Behind the Basket. Um, we've got myself, Braden Cook, Jesse Budnick, and a special guest today, Wyatt Wallace. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks, lads.
Pretty simple one here,
Keen.
guys. We're going to run through just a weekly recap like we usually do. We'll do our team of the week and player of the week, go through each of us. And then we'll go through because the playoffs are finally set, brackets are set. We'll go through that, predict who we will see win the finals, like who we think is going to win. And yeah, so Jesse, you want to start us off?
Yeah, no. For my team of the week this week, I've got the Los Angeles Clippers. They're currently on a 8 game winning streak. They've just been flat out dominant. I feel like going into the playoffs, they've just got the right pieces from like top to bottom. To be honest, they've got depth, they've got coaches, they've got their stars. Everyone knows what they're doing now. Like for the Clippers, like they're fully healthy. And yeah, over the part, especially in today's game against Golden State, the last game of the season, you saw what Kawhi is doing, and I've said in the episodes previous, if Kawhi can get back to what he used to be, the Clippers are going to be very, very dangerous in the playoffs, and we've seen that from Kawhi. And he's honestly probably looked as better as ever at this point. Like you watched him today against Golden State, the efficiency he's shooting the ball at, not only just in the mid range and close to the rim, but also from beyond the arc as well. So the Clippers are really scary, man. As I said, I've said to Dobby plenty of times before, like they match up very well against everyone. They've got size, they've got length, they've got defense, and they've got their scoring. So they're just a really, really good team. I'm really high on the Clippers. They've got Denver in the first round. I know we'll get into that later. Honestly might be a take, but I think they'll make work at Denver. But yeah, clear team of the week there. And then also for my player of the week, I've got Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's averaged 31, 13, and 12 over the last 5 games, and I'm pretty sure them numbers just speak for themselves. So shout out to Giannis for balling.
Definitely. Wyatt, would you like to go up next?
Sure. So for this week, I also have the Clippers. Just to touch on what Jesse said, 8 game win streak. They went from almost a play-in where the Suns were kinda to the 10. Then they just jumped up the top where it was just game and game, neck and neck. And James Harden, my player of the week, pushed through, and it was making it look like Kawhi wasn't even there, just getting Kawhi back into his rhythm. Like Jesse said, they're a dark horse. I reckon they can go all the way if they have health on their side. Um, there's nothing much to touch on it. I reckon they're a team to watch out for the future. I reckon they can take down anyone on their good day.
Hmm.
Um, I'm keen for them to face up against Denver. I think it's the first time since 2020 when they had that stacked Clippers team. So I'd like to see the revenge there in that series. So yeah, I'm keen to see the Clippers play some playoff basketball.
Fuck yeah, I'm so keen.
Yeah.
Forgot you
Yeah,
support
there you go, bro.
I must like that. Um, so my player of the week this week goes to Cade Cunningham. He's been a great player for the Pistons the last couple games. He was averaging, I think it was like 33 points over the past four. He did sit out, I think, 1 or 2 games because they're finally in playoff contention. Um, sorry, bracket contention, kind of where they're sitting. So yeah, he's been averaging a solid 33 to kind of close out the season, which is very good for him. He's played amazing this season, as we talked about, potential most improved player, which is looking pretty likely will go to him now. And then my team of the week goes to Minnesota Timberwolves. They haven't had like a big winning streak, but they were just able to clinch the playoffs, which is very, very good. We did a podcast probably 2 or 3 weeks ago where they were in the play-in, where their hopes of getting to the playoffs didn't look unlikely, but yeah, they've made it in the playoffs, and that's a big, big win for them. If you've seen how they kind of started off the season, they started off the season with the negative record to similar to what the Clippers have done. They didn't start off as well, and they've kind of pulled their way through. So yeah, that's my team for the week.
I'll be um, myself for my team of the week is the Bucks. In their last 10 games, they've gone 8-2. As you've seen, they've gotten the fifth seed in the playoffs. Currently on a 8 game winning streak as well, coming into the playoffs, which is huge. They've been shooting 48% as a team from the field goal, which is really good. And just Giannis has been like just unreal for that team. As Jesse touched on before, 30, 12 and a half, and 10 with two steals and a block a game throughout that 8 game stretch. And my player of the week is Zubats. In his past 4 games, he's been getting 21 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists with 2 blocks a game, and also 63% from the field, which is very efficient. And he's also like just been, as Jesse said, an X factor for the Clippers, especially in that Golden State game. Like he looked unreal and really proved that center weakness in the Golden State team. So yeah, that's my team and player of the week. We'll move on to the our playoff predictions. Let me just get up the playoff bracket here so it's a lot easier to see for us to just go through. There we go. Everyone see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Sweet. Where can I put you? There we go. I'll put you guys up there. All right. So we'll start off with the East, I reckon.
Yeah.
And we'll start from the play-in and then move to the first round, etc., etc. So first is a Magic Hawks.
It's a tough one.
Mm,
I feel like both the Eastern Conference playing games this year both look like I could see anyone coming out of that playing. To be honest, I
definitely.
feel like it's gonna
Yeah.
be a matter of like who plays better.
Correct.
Um, I I think I'm going to take the Magic. I think
Yeah.
Magic. They've got home court advantage. Paolo's been unbelievable this year. When he's been healthy and on the floor, he's averaged 30 points a game, over 6 rebounds a game as well, and he's kind of also the hub of that offense as well. And when he's not scoring, he's making plays. Since I don't feel like the Magic have that true point guard yet, but it also like has added because Paolo's been able to do everything for them. The Hawks, I think the Hawks could win because they've got,
Yeah.
So they've got the right pieces there. But I think the length and scoring of the Magic might just get them over the hump against the Hawks.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. I think, yeah, it would be a Celtics Magic matchup there for the 7th seed.
Like
And
the Hawks were like 19th in defensive rating this year, so I feel like there's also, as much as they have Dice, who was a
good,
you know
great defender.
candidate for decoy, they still lack defense across the floor, especially in Trae Young being
Yeah.
undersized, small.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
in playoff series before got exploited on defenses. So I feel like since the size of the Magic, he might be a target for him. So
Yeah. Okay. So Magic would go to the 7th seed, and sorry, Hawks would verse either the Bulls or the Heat, and I think the Bulls would beat the Heat. And I honestly think I would take the Bulls over the Hawks. Could be a
Really?
could be a hot take, but I think the way Josh Giddey, Kobe White have been playing, it's like hard to pass up on. And also,
I feel like that Bulls Heat game might be closer than you think, Dob.
yeah, no, I think it will be too. Like Bam and Tyler Hero are great, like they're bucket getters, and
Yeah, Weeks has been playing good too.
yeah, I just think
Yeah.
I just back my Josh Giddey, man.
Yeah.
I just think he'll pull through and win both games and eventually versus the Cavs, but I could be wrong, like completely wrong. So
Who have you got
Yeah.
in that series? Like, well, not series.
Which one? Hawks.
The Bulls Heat.
I got Magic. Bulls Heat. I'm kind of leaning towards Heat at the moment. You just got to see what Kobe White and Josh Giddey do. They have to turn up on the day, and obviously same with
Mm.
Tyler Hero and Bam. But I reckon whoever wins that, it's I feel like whoever wins out of Bulls and Heat is going to struggle to beat the Hawks. Personally, Hawks or Magic. I
Mm.
just feel like the Magic and the Hawks are going to come out against Cavs and Celtics, and I honestly think both of them teams will get one win over Celtics and Cavs,
Yeah,
but that's just what I think. I don't
I
see
agree with
any of
that.
the play-in Eastern team making a push at all compared to the West.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty well with White on that one. I think also touching on the Magic, they did have like a top 3 or 4 record when Paolo was healthy at the start of the season. And Paolo was injured for a couple months stretch there, I
Mm.
mm,
feel like. And then their record kind of dipped for a little bit and then they kind of evened back out. But yeah, since Paolo's been back, they've been winning more games. So I think the Magic will definitely come out of that and face the Celtics. Um, and then, yeah, definitely with White, I feel like the Hawks will have the Bulls covered or the Heat covered there, just with previous kind of playoff experience have had with that unit.
yeah.
Mm. Yeah, no,
So we've
great
got
take.
so we've got Magic going to the seventh seed, and then the
Seven
Hawks
seed, and
going.
then the Hawks get 8 seed. Sweet. All
Yeah,
right.
that's what I just
Well,
reckon.
yeah, that's fair. I'll just support the Bulls for Josh Giddey, but that's just me. Um, so we'll do the 1 seed first. So Cavs versus the Hawks. I think it's just going to be Cavs like pretty easily, to be honest.
Sweep or gentlemen
Um,
sweep.
yeah, and probably in 5, gentlemen's sweep.
Yeah,
They'll probably get one win at home, but the Hawks have upset once. So,
yeah.
but I
I
just
think
I
the Hawks
don't
are a better matchup for the Celtics than Cavs.
agreed. Yeah, I think the Cavaliers are just too dominant offensively and defensively. They'll smack Hawks around.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I could see the Hawks getting a home game, like winning
Mm,
one of their home games, and that's about it.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
Not much else to
I
say
agree
on
with you
that.
guys on that one.
Mm. So Celtics Orlando, I think it's going to be pretty much the exact same as the
yeah,
Cavs there. I
yeah.
think, but yeah, gentlemen sweep in 5. I reckon Orlando can get one with Parlo having a good game and some random role players going off. But I think, yeah, Celtics are just gonna
Yeah.
they're the champs, so like reigning champs,
Running
so
through,
they're gonna perform. So
But
they're not
that'll be
getting.
good. That'll be a good matchup game though, like between Franz Wagner and
Yeah.
Arlo and
mm,
Brown and Tatum. Like it's kind of the Fords versus Fords when it comes
yeah,
to scoring there. So
definitely.
I feel like it'll be good matchups. It could definitely go to 6, but it'll most likely be Celtics coming out of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed. Yeah, like pretty easily, I think. Now Knicks Pistons. I reckon this is gonna be probably the best first round series for the East.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I
Yeah.
reckon I'd probably pick the Knicks in 6 or 7. It'll be a close series.
It'll
I
be a
think the
7 game
Knicks.
series, I reckon, man. At least, yeah.
Mm,
All right, at least 6, but
7. Yeah, I
Yeah,
reckon 6.
yeah, I reckon.
I reckon. Yeah, I'm back in the Knicks in
Detroit
that,
have got
but
nothing to lose.
yeah, yeah. That's what I think.
They're like it's a big
Underdog.
improvement for them. They
Mm,
they go all out. Um, I reckon they're kind of like the not really, but the Clippers. Like they're a dark horse for the East, but they're not going to go anywhere. But Clippers can. But
yeah,
they can do some damage to the Knicks. Jalen Brunson's just kind of returned. I'm pretty sure, and
yeah,
he's
yeah.
been playing pretty iffy, but I'm sure he'll come around. Um, yeah, but I see Knicks winning in 6. They should win in
Mm,
6, but I wouldn't underestimate Pistons.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel
No,
like
definitely not.
the identity that the Pistons have, they kind of have that underdog. The channeling that back to the old
Bad
days when
boy
they had
Pistons.
Yeah,
Pistons.
bad
Yeah,
boy.
yeah.
So and like they're on a massive high right now. I think they exceeded everyone's expectations. Coming like of what they were coming into the season, considering as I mentioned in podcast before that they were 2-28 at one point in the previous season. So I don't think anyone kind of really saw them shooting up to the sixth seed and getting past the play in, and securing that spot. But the Knicks are a very tough first round matchup. You've got a lot of experience in that Knicks side. Um, and again, similar to what the Clippers are, they've got the right pieces there. You've got your point guard, you've got your superstars, you've got your cat, you got 7 foot cat at center, who also has playoff experience. And yeah, I just feel like the Pistons, as good as their defense is, and like in Asar, and you got the bench scoring off Malik Beasley, who was second in the league in three
Yeah.
pointers made this season, but I don't think it'll be enough. I think they'll struggle to win at Madison
They,
Square.
Yeah,
And yeah,
definitely.
yeah, they need
I do
a
want to
second
highlight.
option to step up.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I do want to highlight one thing though. In their regular season matchups, Pistons are 3-1 against the Knicks, so
mm,
they do have the regular season W there.
And
But
also another stat I've seen just on top of the Knicks there is the Knicks are 0-3 against both Cavs and Celtics and OKC as well. I know they're in the West, but they're
yeah,
0-3 against all three of those big teams in the regular
Yeah,
season. So
mm,
obviously with higher matchups in teams, they're kind of well just hearing about their 3-1 the Pistons are. That definitely gives Pistons some hope at least.
yeah, definitely.
Um, they've got some players to kind of get under the skin of other players when you think about the Isaiah Stewarts, the Rob Hollands and stuff. Um, they can definitely kind of mentally get in their heads, I feel like. Um,
mm.
but like you guys said, they've really got nothing to lose. So it'll be good to see what
Exactly.
experience they can get. Hopefully Isaiah Stewart doesn't clobber anyone and it'll be a good series.
Yeah, I think Knicks will probably pretty easily win that. Not easily, but it can go either way, and I think the Knicks will win. They'll just prove to be the better
Yeah,
team.
I agree.
We've got the Pacers and the Bucks.
Again,
Uh,
another interesting matchup, I
a,
feel.
a
Pacers are getting
return.
swept. Pacers are getting swept. Tyrese Halliburton's a bum.
So you
Like,
you hate
no,
you hate on Halliburton
so
way too much, man.
yeah, but he's going to come out and he's going to have a 33 and 10 game, and Tyrese Halliburton's the best point guard in the East, and then he goes back to 9, 7, and 5 for the rest of the series. Like, we've seen it too much. Bucks are going to win. Giannis and the Bucks are on a roll. Um, it's a bit of a shame about Dame, but Dame or not, they don't really need him for the Pacers. I mean, it's just Tyrese Halliburton and like Benedict Mathurin, really. So,
Yeah,
um,
okay.
I
I
think you're
wouldn't
discounting.
underestimate them.
Yeah, I was
I,
gonna say I
I
think
think that there's a lot of players on the Pacers.
no,
They're
Pace
like one of the best offensive teams in the league, and you're just like going through and not listing Pascal Siakam, Miles
Paces
Turner,
Paces are
Aaron
getting
Neesmith.
swept. Paces are getting swept. So
Oh,
Yeah,
buddy.
Giannis has got to hold out till Dame possibly returns from his blood
Yeah.
clot. So you got to
yeah,
yeah,
see how
blood clots are
malleable
hard.
he
Like
is for that.
it's yeah,
Yeah, it's not a rush.
we don't want to rush something like that. So prayers out to Dame. Hope you can get better. But um, yeah, Paces kind of made a bit of an injury run last year. So um, hopefully
I'm gonna
Giannis can kind of put
100%.
put them in their place. I guess.
I'm gonna flip this a bit. I'm gonna take the Pacers in 7 games.
Yeah,
I think
I
the
got the
offense of
Bucks in
the
six.
Pacers, the offense of the Pacers, I feel like is going to be too much to handle for the Bucks. I don't feel like the Bucks' defense, like yes, you've got Giannis who is like a defensive player of the year, but I don't think that's going to be enough. The Pacers are a high volume shooting team. They shoot the three really well. The floor's always stretched. They've got stretch bigs. You got Miles Turner who can shoot the lights out. Um, you got Tyrese Halliburton who again who thrives under Rick Carlisle. and is the hub of the offense for that team. So I feel like the Pacers are the more complete team, and I feel like
Yeah.
the Bucks kind of lack that depth a bit. So I'm actually going to take the Pacers in 7 games in this series.
Mm.
I think their offense is going to be too good, and I do think their defense is also better than the Bucks.
So my prediction, Bucks in 5, and Giannis will average a 33-point triple double.
Nah,
Watch this space.
Jesse, I agree with I agree with everything you're saying. I reckon like
Mm.
the Pacers are the better all round team, 100%. But I do think the Bucks will pull through. Unfortunately, but I would not count the Pacers out. Like
Yeah, they
100% would
made.
not.
You remember they went to the Eastern Conference Finals
Yeah,
last
I
year. They
know.
played really, really well. I feel like they're a
Like
team that also thrives like in the playoffs because people also like overlook
doubt
them
on
a
them.
little bit.
Mm,
Yeah, so I feel like they could really upset the Bucks in the first round here. I don't see the Pacers getting past the second round,
no.
but I do see them beating the Bucks.
Okay. Well, I think three of us picked Bucks, so we'll just go Bucks, just because
All right.
everyone's
Makes sense.
most people vote Bucks. Okay, we'll go to the second round of the East. It'd be Cavs versus the Bucks.
Yeah.
Against us.
If
Cavs
Dame's
and
back, I can see this going to 6 or 7 by the team.
Definitely.
who would you pick?
I
What?
I see Bucks as a dark horse.
Yep.
Or that. I'd almost pick Bucks.
Wow.
It's Giannis. They got experience. I'm not counting him and Dame out. If they're healthy, they're healthy, and I reckon they're a dark horse for the East. But I reckon Cavs or Bucks, one of them will be in the finals. Conference finals. Sorry, I reckon it'll be out of them.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just
I think
looking at the
Valid.
bracket now, and I'm just trying to
Yeah. No.
work it out.
I honestly think the Cavs do them
But
the Bucks in 6 games.
no, I agree. I think the Cavs do push through and beat the Bucks in six.
I just feel like they've been too good this year. You can't overlook what
Yeah.
they've done. They've got the coaching. You've got Donovan Mitchell, who is an elite playoff performer, and I know what Dame
Mm.
and Giannis, what they provide in the playoffs. I just don't think the Bucks have the depth. I don't think Torian Prince, Gary Trent Jr., AJ Green, them
Kyle
players.
Kuzma, like he's not going to beat it.
Like I just don't know if I can rely. Like if you're the Bucks, if you can rely on them to perform, and I just feel like the Cavs match up so well against them too. You've got Mobley and Allen, the forwards who are gonna, they're not gonna stop Giannis by any means, but they're definitely gonna limit a lot of what he does, and make it really, really tough on him throughout the series. And then again with that, they traded for DeAndre Hunter. I think they've got the perimeter defense. The defense is there, the offensive there. They've proved it all season long. 64 and 18 is their record. Like I
Mm.
don't think that compares to the Bucks at all. I think
They're just more complete.
yeah, they're,
Yeah,
they're the more
definitely.
complete team, exactly. So the depth and just the overall play of the
They
Cavs,
should win.
they'll outplay. I think they'll outplay the Bucks.
Yeah,
I think I
agreed.
think between Mobley and Allen, that's going to be a hard matchup for Giannis. Like we did a segment talking about Defensive Player of the Year. Evan Mobley
Mm.
was kind of all in our top three at least for
Mm.
Defensive Player of the Year, and similar position to what Giannis is. And then you got Allen, who's another great defensive center who fills a great role, has great positioning. When you break down little things like that, I think with the Cavs, all it's about is just chemistry. That unit's been together for a while, but as long as they can keep playing that same basketball they did at the start of the season, I think it would be probably a solid 5 game series. But if Dame is back, probably they could definitely take it to 6. So, but yeah, completely right about depth. Like when you look at that Cavs bench, there's just you got the Sam Merrill, you got the Ty Jerome, you got these guys that can just come off and drop 15. As with
Mm.
the Bucks bench, you don't really have that. You have your good starting five, but you really only have two, maybe sometimes Kuzma, three good scorers on that team. You look at the Cavs, all their starting five can average
Everyone
15.
can, yeah, everyone can could like average over 10 points a game in the
Yeah,
Yeah.
playoffs.
exactly.
Mm.
And like their sixth, seventh, and eighth man has potential to average 10. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? As with
Mm.
that Bucks kind of bench, the more you look at the depth, it just doesn't look like they have it compared to what the Cavs do.
yeah. Shout out
Yeah.
Ty Jerome,
Yeah. Bucket.
dynamic man.
And Sam Merrill, is it Sam Merrill? Like I've seen him put up
Yeah.
some
Sam
stats
I,
Merrill,
as
bro.
well,
I
man.
like to compare Sam Merrill to like Sam Hauser on this, like not even because they have the same name, but like low key they come off the bench for both their teams, and I think they feel like very similar roles.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on to the Celtics and the Knicks. This is going to be a great series. But as Braden said before, the Knicks have not won a game against the Celtics this regular season, and I think the Celtics will pull through and get back into the conference finals again.
Who you
Um,
got?
I'm going Celtics. I reckon Celtics will make the finals this year again, reigning champs. Um, it'll be pretty disappointing if Cavs and Celtics get knocked out second round with their
Yeah,
record.
mm,
I, I do like the Knicks. I like Cat. Um, just depends. Um, I can see Celtics winning 5 or 6, but I reckon Knicks could give Celtics a hard time and scare them a bit. Yeah,
mm,
definitely.
agreed.
Yeah, so there was a game on not too long ago, which was actually Celtics and Knicks. I think it was last week. And I guess for some of our audience out there in Australia, I guess NBA games are kind of played during the day, so we don't get to really watch full games as much as we want. Um, but that one was on a bit earlier in the morning, so I was able to watch pretty much the full game. It went overtime. I guess the only difference with the Celtics is they looked more complete in the kind of clutch moments when it came to chemistry together. As with the Knicks, it kind of everything had to run through Brunson, if that makes sense. Yes, you have the Josh Hart for the hustle plays. Yes, you have Cap for down low. But the Celtics, it's like all five of those guys could have scored. As if you look at the Knicks in kind of those clutch possessions, it's like it's just Jalen Brunson. He takes a step back three. There's not as much variation as what the Celtics were getting in those clutch moments that I seen in that kind of last minutes of those games. Because Celtics just have that many offensive weapons, and that's not discrediting any of the starting five of the Knicks. It just seems like in those clutch moments, it's just Jalen Brunson, which I'm don't know if I'm the biggest fan of.
Mm,
As with the Celtics, everyone's any five of those guys could be shooting that last shot. So I feel like closing out games, the Celtics are probably one of the best in the league at that. So it's probably I'd like to see it go to 6, but it's definitely going to be the Celtics coming out of that.
yeah, no, I agree, bro. I think the Celtics. Although I do feel like the Celtics do struggle in the playoffs against, like as you saw last year against the Pacers, like they struggle against teams that I feel like aren't as big as a threat. Like which I don't feel like the Knicks are this year purely because of what you just said, like the variation in offense that it just kind of isn't there. There's a lot of ISO with Jalen Brunson and then just kind of basic pick and roll stuff with Cat. So I feel like the Celtics is all round, game. You've seen it over the past couple of years. They're the reigning champs. They're not getting bounced in the second round. It's very similar to what White said with the records that they have this regular season. I feel like it would be a shock and an underachievement if they got bounced in the second round. So I see the Celtics winning that series in
And
five,
my only
six
thing
max.
My only thing kind of to touch on that as well is when I was watching that game, they sat Jalen Brown out in overtime and ended the fourth. Which the team played more, like I said before, more complete with Brown off the floor. So I guess how do they adjust to having Jalen Brown on the floor for those kind of clutch moments? Are they keeping him off? Are they bringing him on? Because obviously he's a great defensive player, but it seems like they're still going through a little bit of um, rostering kind of difficulties as well, not really knowing what to do with Jalen Brown at times, which is a bit of a shame. So, um,
Oh,
yeah, that could always play a factor too.
They were playing, bro. I think in big time players rise to the occasion. He won the
Yeah,
Finals MVP last year. I think a player like Jaylen Brown thrives. It's very similar to I feel like what Donovan Mitchell does. Thrives in playoff experience. Like it thrives in the playoffs. The
Absolutely.
style of game is so different to what it's like in the regular season, obviously because it's finals basketball, but more than that, it's just so matchup reliant. I feel like Jalen Brunson is just such a complete player. It's like what you just highlighted. He's a great defender and he's also a very great scorer. So I feel like they'll slot him right back in the clutch minutes and stuff like that, and he'll um, you know, be the Jalen Brown that we know.
mm, definitely. And the final to the Eastern Conference Finals, we got Cavs and Celtics, the matchup we all want.
Yes.
Um, I think it honestly will inevitably happen. I think it will. Um, I don't see any team upsetting either sides. Um, and purely because I just want something different, I'm gonna go the Cavs in six. Their offense is like very impactful. And it's been all year. Their offense is ridiculous, and the defense is also great as well. Like Mobley, Allen, they've been playing unreal defensively, and you look at the offense as well. Donovan Mitchell, Garland's been having like a insane season, and you look at the role players as well on that team, and it's just a great overall team, and it's going to be an insane series. So,
You know, I'm gonna go something different as well because I want it to happen. I'm gonna take the Cavaliers. I'm just gonna take them in 7 games. I think you got to give credit to the reigning champs. I don't think they're gonna go out easy. If they do go out, it'll be, as I said, I reckon it'll be in 7 games. Um, it'll be. I'm so keen for it.
hmm,
I really hope it happens. I think everyone wants to see it. And yeah, if it does come around and everything comes to life, I'm definitely back in the Cavs. I think their offense, what you just said, Dob, their offense is they've just they don't really make any errors. They don't really turn the ball over. They capitalize off turnovers when they do force turnovers. And as I said earlier, they're very similar to the Clippers in like the way their team's structured. They've got all the right pieces to win a championship. And if Donovan Mitchell be's the playoff performer that we're used to and that we know, he will be a lot to handle for the Celtics. And yeah, I'm back in the Cavs here.
I think it all depends if the Cavs can get someone not named Donovan Mitchell going. I think that's important because um the Celtics have the. Am I lagging a lot for you boys?
Oh, you're good, bro. Oh.
Yeah,
I'm good. All right, so um
yeah, you're fine.
the Celtics have the Drew Holidays, they have the Derek Whites, they have a lot of great defensive guards. Yes, I've seen in 2 matchups with the Cavs and Celtics where Donovan Mitchell went off for 30 plus for both of them. But I feel like I got Celtics in 7 purely for the reason that they have people to slow down Donovan Mitchell on that team. They have people to slow down the Evan Mobleys, the Darius Garlands defensively. Defense wins championships after all. I'm not discrediting Cavaliers defense, but you know the Derek Whites, the Drew Holidays, they have potentials to definitely slow down Donovan Mitchell. If you can slow down Donovan Mitchell and get someone else on that team to score, then that's kind of more than half your problem just beating them alone. So I'll take Celtics in 7. I would love to see Cavs in the final. Way more of what I'd love to see the Celtics, but I feel like Celtics are going to get it done in 7. They have that experience. They have probably the more favorable matchups there.
Um,
Yeah.
I reckon if it does end up to be the Cavs versus Celtics, um, whoever loses, it won't be an underachievement. I see both these teams on par with the depth of the Celtics and the Cavs. I see them the exact same, but Celtics obviously the previous champs. I'm taking them in 7, but whoever ends up losing this. I don't think should be disappointed with the outcome. They're both two amazing teams, and I feel like one of them will be in the finals. I'm taking Celtics in 7. I just reckon you can't count out the previous champs.
Definitely, yeah. I think for this video purely, we'll put the Celtics to go to the finals just because they are the reigning champs, and yeah, can't discredit that. So we'll move on to the West here. So in the play-in, we've got Golden State and Grizzlies. I think this will be a great game. The Grizzlies have won against the Warriors in the play-in before. The Warriors are 0-3 in the play-in as well, so we can't discredit that. But I think depending on how Jimmy Butler is, how that injury is going, I think the Warriors do win against the Grizzlies here. They've just got a way better team in comparison to when they lost against the Grizzlies in that play-in game. You look at Jimmy, obviously what was the stat, like 20 or 16 and whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
But they're playing really well. They're playing like a top team in the West, with Jimmy on that team. So you can't discredit that. And I think, yeah, Jimmy will be the X factor in that game. But I do see the Warriors beating the Grizzlies there.
Grizzlies.
yeah, no,
Do you know if Jar's still injured?
no,
Like,
he's
has he
not.
still got a
He's
hamstring
back.
problem? I know
No,
he's back, but yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
don't know. I don't know how bad the extent of the injury is.
Yeah.
But
I think, yeah, I'm obviously going to back my team here, but I do think we will win. We should win. I did look at a little clip before we started the podcast today, on Jimmy's injury, and he seems fine. I thought it was a knee injury at first, but it turns out it was just a knee to the thigh, even though it did look very serious, when it did happen. In an interview today, he said he'll be fine. So I do think that, which is a bit more confident, gives Warriors fans a bit more confidence. But I agree. I think one person you didn't mention that might also be an X factor, Dobby, will be Jonathan Kuminga, who didn't actually see the floor today. I saw clips of him staying back hours after the game today against the Clippers. I think Steve Kerr will obviously, since they lost to the Clippers, he will see the floor against Grizzlies, in the playing game. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't. So if he does play, I think he'll be a big X factor in us winning that, considering Steph's, um, got a banged up thumb and Jimmy's like not 110%. Probably won't be 110%. I don't think it will limit them too much, as is Steph with his thumb today. He still had 36 and 6, and shot pretty efficient. So I think we should beat the Grizzlies, especially with Jaden Wells out, who was their primary perimeter defender. So I think that is also a big defensive, loss for them. So I think we should beat the Grizzlies in this one, especially at home.
hmm.
Yeah, I'd much rather for the Grizzlies to win here so they can burst my Rockets instead of the Warriors. So, but I feel like it looks like uh favorable Warriors at the moment. That Clippers Warriors game today was unreal. Um, Obviously late stages closing that game out. Clippers just won, but both teams really wanted it. I think all the teams in the West, like we just talked about the East before, but the West is so competitive, so
Mm.
competitive. So I feel like the Warriors will come out on top of the Grizzlies there for the seventh seed against the Rockets, but um yeah, like Jesse said, losing Jalen Wells is a massive defensive loss. We don't really know what Jar's status is at the moment, too. Still nursing that hamstring injury. We don't even know what Jimmy Butler's status is at the moment after today's game, limping off the court in the final stages of OT. So hopefully we just get a good, healthy matchup between both teams.
Yeah.
you done, bro?
Yeah, I'll quit the yap, man. Sorry.
That's all good. If I was the Thunder and Rockets, I would be wanting to be up against the Grizzlies. I think Warriors will come out on this one. Hopefully, Jimmy and Steph will be okay. I think Jar's hamstring will be fine, but I still see Warriors coming out over the top. yeah, I'd be worried if I was Thunder or Rockets going against Steph. He won a couple of years in the championship. He's an underdog. Everyone knows what he can do every year, no matter what seed they are. He can just make an impact and go from 7 to the finals. He can just make a push. And he's got Jimmy as well. Jimmy's known for doing the late pushes in the playoffs. Um, so I really see Warriors getting through this easy. They should, hopefully. I'd like to see him win and go up against the Rockets, but we'll see what happens with the health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means they'll go to the losers bracket and they'll play against either the Kings or the Mavericks.
Yeah.
I think like I just think the Mavericks will lose that game against the Kings. They got Sabonis, one of the best centers in the league, very underrated player, great playmaker, etc. I got Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, all around just really well rounded team. Um, but either way, whoever comes out of that Kings Mavericks matchup, I think the Grizzlies do beat them.
Yeah.
Or Grizzlies or Warriors, but I think Grizzlies will beat either team there. If the Mavericks do win against the Kings, you got AD there. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. and the presence of Zach Edey as well do defend against AD pretty well there. Jaren Jackson Jr. Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So I think
No Kyrie.
yeah, no Kyrie. I don't think the Mavericks. I don't think the Mavericks do want to get to the playoffs, like purely so they can get a lottery pick, and just wait for next season. Like I think that's what their game would be, to be honest.
Yeah,
And
I think that the I don't think AD is fully healthy either. Like I think he's just playing at the moment at 70%. When you watch him, he still has that old really good game, but I don't think he's fully healthy. The Mavericks only have like 6 or 7 healthy players in their roster at the moment. Like Nico
mm,
Harrison might have to suit up for the playing. So um, but I do have a bit of a hot take. I think the Kings could make a playoff run if Levine and DeRozan can get it going. Because when they can get it going, they are a winnable team. It just depends. They're both very streaky. They're rather there or they're not. If they can both get it going, I could see them beating the Grizzlies to get in the playoffs. Hot take,
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
definitely
but they're
Hot
not making
take.
it
definitely hot
past the
take.
first round, buddy.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They ain't getting they ain't getting past the first round, but they could make that because all they need is that one game. If they could both just get it together for the one game, they could definitely beat the Grizzlies.
yeah, definitely. Like it could happen. Like sorry, just to begin with, I do agree with you. I think the Kings will beat the Mavericks, which is a bit disappointing because I was very high on the Mavericks, as you know, because when they are fully healthy, they have got all the pieces to upset, and I did have them when they were fully
Yeah.
healthy. They could beat anyone in the Western Conference again with the starting lineup of Kyrie, Max Christie, PJ Washington, AD, Lively. Then you got Gafford and all that coming off the bench. They're very, very similar to the Clippers again. They've got size, they've got scoring, they've got defense, length, they've got everything there, coaching to win it. But unfortunately, as what Bray just highlighted, a lot of their players are in the injury bed. The Kings have come around a bit. They've got a bit of star power there in Levine, DeRozan, Sabonis. And also, not to mention that AD, I know it was when he was on the Lakers, but he also doesn't have the best record against Domantas Sabonis either. So I feel like there will be a bit of a psychological thing there for AD, and knowing that he does struggle against the Kings. And he also doesn't really have that support there, as we just mentioned. That a lot of their players are out and not even at 100% with the players that are playing. So I do have the Kings to come out of that as well, and then, but yeah, losing to the Grizzlies in the following game.
Uh, do we have to talk about it? I think whoever wins is getting bounced out straight after. I see the Kings just winning. Once again, Klay Thompson in the play-in versus the Kings. I think the bar and that can get it done. Zach. Oh. But
Thanks
yeah,
for
I
giving me
think
that
the
work.
Mavericks need to rebuild and just get that lottery pick at the moment. Kings have got it, I think. And even if that happens, Warriors or Grizzlies are for sure got to get through them. They'll be fine.
Mm. Yeah.
Get to the
Right.
juicy games now.
All right, here we go. The first round matchup between the Thunder and the Grizzlies. I think this will be a genuine sweep for the Thunder.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
just the Thunder have proved to be an insane team all season long. 80% win rate. Like can't
They're going
can't
to
can't
be.
put it past it. Like
They're
yeah,
young.
yeah,
Yeah, they're young. They've got momentum. They'll blowing teams out coming towards the end of the season. I think they're just going to make absolute work of whoever,
yeah,
regardless whoever they verse in the first
mm,
round. Unless Warriors drop and verse them in the first round, that would be a very good series. And
yeah,
if Thunder, I do think you're hoping that Warriors do beat the Grizzlies on Wednesday.
yeah, definitely.
Um, but yeah, if it's the Kings, then 5 games easily.
Yeah, yeah.
Without too good.
There's
Just
Shame.
not.
Shame.
just that chemistry over at OKC as well. Seems
Yeah.
like the best kind of chemistry in the league with that team.
Mm,
Seems they're all really connected as a units, but I think maturity is probably their biggest thing heading in the playoffs. How they're going to handle big moments, how they're going to handle Shea maybe not getting the calls he did in the playoffs, the regular season. There will be some adjusting in that, right? But like OKC have been playing their bench, and Isaiah Joe and Jalen Williams, by the way, have been just going off for 30. Like it's
mm,
crazy what their bench can do as well.
yeah, definitely.
Crazy day.
I don't think there's much to touch on about that matchup. I think it'd just
Yeah.
be a
Yeah,
gentleman's
that,
yeah.
sweep.
Bit of a waste of time.
Mm. So we'll go down to the
True, it's true though.
yeah,
it,
no,
it
They
is
I
didn't
don't
true.
get
think
double. They
anything will
didn't do
be.
number one seed just to get bounced out by the eight.
Yeah.
Wyatt, don't waste my time, Wallace.
God,
Uh,
these games are the ones you want to talk about.
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
So Rockets Golden State. I reckon it'll be a great like it will be a good series. I reckon.
It will be
They got
great.
Um,
history.
yeah, it'll
Mm.
be a low scoring. I reckon defensive games. Um, but I do think just purely how like the Rockets have been really good. Like you can't count them out. Like they're honestly it's annoying they're the second seed, but they're underdogs in this series.
Yeah,
Uh,
which is weird to say.
no, no,
So
but
I think the Rockets are very good at like slowing down Steph from that half court kind of setting. If you watch the Warriors and Rockets game, they are very good at kind of guarding Steph from the mid court on. So I think it's all about how can Jimmy Butler get going. How can Jonathan Kuminga get going? Because my Rockets team isn't probably as good inside the paint as the other, let's say, top five teams in the West. Perimeter wise, I feel like we're very, very solid perimeter defensive team. But when it comes to interior in the paint, definitely lack a bit of size in some aspects. But I guess Golden State do as well. Um, so the matchups are looking very good. Um, sorry, Jesse, but I'm gonna pick my boys for six.
Got to
Rockets and
back your
six.
team. Got to back your
yeah,
team.
you gotta.
It'll be a great matchup. Same thing I said about OKC. It's just about maturity. How can they handle things when they don't go right? So
Yeah.
Yeah,
the Warriors have been together for a championship. They know how to do that. So I guess it's a big learning curve for the Rockets and the Thunder.
yeah. The Rockets and the Warriors. In the regular season, their matchups. Warriors have won 3-2. Um, so Warriors have 3 games against the Rockets too. So it will. I reckon it'll be a very like it'll be a closer series than anyone thinks. I think a lot of
Yeah,
people are
but we
backing
weren't
Golden
trying,
State.
bro.
want to highlight that we didn't have Steph or Jimmy for one of the games that we beat the Rockets, but
Bro, it was Rockets versus refs every game, bro.
oh my God. All right.
But I do have Golden State pushing through against the Rockets. Yeah, it's
Before I give my 10 cents into this, I'd love to hear Wyatt Wallace's predictions.
Um, I've actually got the Warriors taking them. I see whoever Warriors or Grizzlies can upset the Rockets, unlike the others upsetting the Thunder. I'd really like to see Warriors get under Rocket skin. Draymond and Dylan Brooks. I'd love to see that. It feeds families. Um, Man, if I'm Rockets, I really don't want to verse Warriors. Um, you know what they do. They have history, and I think Warriors can truly beat Rockets in 6 or 7.
I've got 2 words for you. I got 2 words for you.
What
Amen
series?
Thompson.
Oh,
Amen Thompson.
Well, I'm obviously going to back my own team here in six or
take it,
seven.
Jesse.
I think it's going to be it's going to be a very, very good series. A lot of people will be tuning into it if it does happen. Um, Again, the reason why I'm obviously going to back my team, but I just feel like whole playoff experience. The Rockets are still very young. I know they've got Fred VanVleet, but when you've got the experience of Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, just them three alone, and you're versing only like kind of someone in Fred VanVleet that's only been there before out of that whole team, really. I think the experience, the depth of the Warriors as well. I feel like the as good as the Rockets defense is, and I see Braden's point on like what they've done to limit Steph in the regular season. With that being said, the playoffs is a completely different game to what it is in the regular season. I think Steph will find his way to get going regardless in the series. They will limit him, obviously. Um, I just think our offense will be too much. I don't think the Rockets' offense will be able to kind of keep up with us for 7 games, as good as their defense is. But just the little things like the way we space the floor, like if Kuminga and Pajemski are going to be really big X factors for us if we're going to win. They need to be able to perform and like really stretch the floor, which will be able to unlock Steph and Jimmy a bit because in the games that we've seen before and what Braden highlighted, our bench hasn't been able to get going. And so that all the Rockets have had to do is kind of lock down on Steph and Jimmy. And you've got defenders in Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, who comes off the bench, who is really dynamic. Dylan Brooks, who can defend. Fred VanVleet can defend. Like everyone can defend on that team. But if we can really stretch the floor and get the role players going, I feel like the floor will just open up a lot more. And ever since the trade as well, I feel like Warriors have just kind of found games, always find ways to win. I know they've lost the last 3, I think, but in a 7-game series against a Rockets team that hasn't really been there before, and it pressures on them a little bit because they are the 2 seed, even though they are underdogs. I just feel like my Warriors will probably be too much to handle for them in the first round. That's my prediction in
yeah,
6 or 7.
definitely agree. Yeah, I just think playoff experience does show out throughout these playoffs. Obviously, being in these like matchups and situational like areas. So I think Golden State do prevail. We'll move on to Lakers and Timberwolves here. This is going to be a good series as well. I think they the Lakers and Timberwolves are 2-2 against each other. They both got 2 wins against each other and 2 losses. I do see Ant having like a couple like he will play really well this whole series, but the biggest X factor for the Timberwolves this series is Julius Randle and how he can perform. Is he going to be that that video of the dog and he's like holding the ball and he's like not passing it. um, if he takes on like a playmaking role there, it'll be an interesting series. But I do have the Lakers in 6 against. I think Ant will get 2 insane games, and yeah, I think the Lakers do win in 6 here, if not 5.
Can I jump in?
Go
Yeah.
for it, what?
Right, yeah. So being a LeBron Glazer, as I am, um, I'm really kind of worried about this matchup. Still going Lakers in six, but I reckon they're going to struggle in the paint with this series. They lack the height, Nas, and Randall. We don't have much in the paint, obviously. So I think our big factor will be 3 point mid ranges. I'm lagging. It's basically this Lakers team this year is almost just like the Dallas Mavericks from last year, going up against the Timberwolves. I kind of look at it like that. And Timberwolves almost got it done against them. I think did it go to 7 last year, or did it go to 6?
Yeah, I think it did go to 7. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Luka. But I reckon the Timberwolves team last year was better than this team this year,
definitely.
and I'm pretty sure the
100%.
record shows. I prefer Cat over Randall. I'd take him any day of the week. But I reckon this was probably the matchup the Lakers didn't really want just because of the size. But I still see them getting through with six. I can't see LeBron getting bounced out in round one. Right. But really want them Lakers to face the Warriors in round two. Feed families.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Why I think the Lakers will make work of the Timberwolves. I don't think the height issue will be as bad as you think. I know Jackson Hayes isn't really he's near one of the best centers, or close to being anywhere near a good center in the league. But I don't think it will matter. I think the Lakers have got so much firepower in just Luka and LeBron. Like that would be enough to get them over the line anyway against the Timberwolves. I think people are being a bit too generous to them, to be honest. I don't I don't really rate them. Um I think if I was the Lakers, they're probably who I wanted because if they would have won, if Golden State would have won today, that would have been the first round matchup. And I feel like if you are the Lakers, I would rather verse Anthony Edwards than Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond in the first round. Um, in my opinion, but I do have the Lakers beating them in like 5 or 6, to be honest. I'm not saying LeBron getting bounced out of the first round. It's just not going to happen. But just Luka and LeBron would be enough. Would just sells me in itself. I don't. There is a weakness, obviously, in the height, but the Lakers are, in my opinion, are deep, and they can go all the way. Still, they've got LeBron. Like I can't see why not.
I know Gobert's going to have PTSD going up against Luka again.
That's exactly.
That's Twitch. He's going to hate that.
I don't rate Gobert.
Bro's shaking right now.
No, no one does. But he has gotten better. Admit it. He has gotten a lot better.
I think you were being a bit too generous to the Timberwolves there. I think Randall's been very average this season. I don't think he's going to exploit that weakness as much as you think he will. Like,
that child support dude turns into Michael Jordan in the playoffs, man. He's unstoppable in the playoffs, man.
Nah.
He's got to pay off 2 baby mamas.
Wait, did you say child support Michael Jordan?
No.
Child support Michael Jordan.
Go to Bray now. Go to Bray now. I've said too much.
Really? Bro really said child support Michael Jordan. No one heard that.
No, everyone heard that, bro.
Anthony Plan B Edwards.
What?
I mean, get the abortion, right? So
change the subject.
No, I'm kind of with you. I rate that Timberwolves team. I feel like Randall's kind of found a role now. Randall's found a role now, and he's been doing better. Not up to what we expect from Randall, obviously, but I'd say Lakers in 6. I feel like that's fair. I'm obviously a big Houston fan, but a Lakers versus Golden State Warriors. Would that be second round?
Yeah,
second round would be
second round,
great matchup. Great for He is
Yes.
great for everything. But Timberwolves do have some great defenders. It all kind of just goes down to how well can they guard Luka. LeBron's gonna be LeBron. We all know that, but I'm with you, Jesse. I can't see LeBron going out in the first round.
Yeah, not
But
happening.
I do think you are underrating the Timberwolves though, like a lot.
Yeah,
Like Rudy
just
Gobert
slightly.
has been
Me,
playing, yeah, yeah.
I agree.
Gobert has been playing like a really good center. Like he's been really well, like really good for the Timberwolves and catalyst for that defense as well. Anthony Edwards is Anthony Edwards. Child child support Michael Jordan, as Wyatt said. Um, like yeah, and especially like and in the playoffs, like you've seen, he made the conference finals last year and like only barely got not into the finals. So
I
um,
feel that though. I feel what you're saying. I love Ant, but it's like what you all said earlier. Like the Timberwolves were better last year. Like I feel like they've only gotten worse, and the Lakers have only gotten better. And that's like you know, like someone we also haven't mentioned, like Austin Reeves. He's averaged like 22 and like 7 this season. Like I just think the Lakers will just like. Oh, sorry, it's probably not as definitive as I'm saying it, but I just feel like Lakers will just be too good. Like in 5 or 6 games, like I can see them getting it done. Anthony Edwards is like I love Ant, and he'll definitely get a game, and like what you said, maybe two, but nothing more than that. Like I don't, the Timberwolves don't have the firepower I feel like to beat
mm,
the Lakers, nor the defense to stop Luka, AR, and LeBron.
yeah,
Just,
fair,
yeah,
fair enough. All right, we'll move on to the Nuggets and the Clippers. I reckon this will probably be the best first round matchup in both the West and the East. I think it's
definitely.
pretty definitive.
100%.
And I do will back my Clippers here. Like they do have the best player in the league, Jokic on the Nuggets there, but with no head coach Michael Malone, and also that team has not looked the same since that finals win. Um, I think like
Let me lost you there for a bit, Dob.
yeah, that's right.
I thought it was me. I was stressing.
I will back my Clippers here. Probably in six. Um, I think they do get it done against Jokic. They are 2-2. The Nuggets and Clippers. They've both won two, lost two. Same with the Lakers and Timberwolves. But yeah, purely just how well the Clippers have been in these last couple of games. They looked unstoppable. And I said this to Jesse today when we were watching that Golden State Clippers game. I said I reckon whoever wins this game is the second best team in the West, behind the Thunder. Um, and I think the Clippers are proving to be a really, really, really good West team. And I think they do beat the Nuggets pretty definitively.
Yeah, yeah, I'm picking the Clippers as well. I'm not going to say definitively just because of Jokic. But with that being said, as I said to you earlier, Dobby, the Clippers are a far deeper team than what the Nuggets are. They're on a roll as I mentioned in my team of the week as well. They're on an 8 game winning streak right now, beating really, really good teams in them 8 games. Including the Warriors in overtime today. But yeah, I feel like the loss of head coach Mike Malone is just kind of happened too late. Like it's going to affect them coming into the playoffs regardless. You're versing a Clippers team who is absolutely on fire. Um, good vibes throughout the whole team, and good vibes is like it's big in the playoffs. Like if everyone's everyone's performing as a unit, like you need that. It's matchup reliant, the way the playoffs are played. And I just feel like the Nuggets have kind of lost a bit of continuity, like with starting with the off the court drama with the head coach, and then simply just being a roster issue as well. As good as Jokic and Jamal Murray have been in the past in the playoffs, I just feel like the Clippers are going to be too much to handle, man. The Clippers match up so well against almost anyone in the league. And I think the defense and the offense of the Clippers is just going to be too much to handle for a short-handed Nuggets team that is kind of also somewhat going through it right now. So I've got the Clippers in 6 games.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say like if this is the Nuggets situation a month ago, where it seemed like everything was all well and good,
Mm.
I'd take the Nuggets here. But after everything that's happened, like it seems that team's almost defeated already.
Yeah,
Um,
like,
we like the media is gonna paint a narrative about something we have no idea what went down. Um, Kind of with the Nuggets there. No one like we know partially what the truth is. Um, but whatever it is, it has upset the team. It's kind of hasn't brought them together. It's only kind of split them apart, which is sad. But hopefully they can just, if they can come together as a unit, get over what's happened. Whoever the secondary coach is that stepped up, I forgot his name. My apologies. Um, if they can all just work as a unit, just get to work together, put everything behind them, they could definitely upset the Clippers here. But it's a big what if. So I got the Clippers coming out in 5, to be honest. There's no chemistry at the moment. Um, if you watch the games, there's a lot of frustration, I think, between it's MPJ and Westbrook. Like
Yeah.
whenever you go back and watch some older games, whenever MPJ takes a stupid shot, like Westbrook's kind of the first one to go at him for it and throw his hands up, things like that. And they're obviously going to paint that narrative that he's a horrible player. But there's not that chemistry happening with that team. Like Jesse just talked about the good vibes. We're seeing that with the Thunder. We're seeing that with the Clippers. We're seeing that even with my Rockets squad, when everyone can come together, everyone can win. It's all about the small pieces that matter. Like we've even seen with the Suns should be here in the playoffs this year, but they haven't been able to come together as a unit, it looks like. So,
Mm.
um, I honestly got Clippers in 5. I think unless the Nuggets can bring themselves together, um,
I,
Clippers
I
come out in
think
5.
I think Jokic does get two. Like
yeah, I think Jokic is good
definitely,
enough to get him 2 games at least.
he's best player in the world.
But you made all the points you made, bro. I agree with all. I reckon they're all great
Yeah,
points.
agreed. Yeah.
Um, with the Nuggets and the Clippers, if you told me this was going to be the matchup a week ago, I probably would have leaned towards Nuggets. Um, After the news coming out about the coach getting fired, and dramas with Westbrook in the lockers and favoritism, today I've thought about it, and I'm leaning towards Clippers in 6 or 7. Um, Obviously, I think this is the most stacked Clippers team we've seen since 2020,
Definitely.
when they faced the Nuggets and choked the 3-1 lead. Um, Obviously, Westbrook was at the Clippers last year and they let him walk. So he'll be wanting some revenge. But I'm honestly not sure how much playing time this new coach is going to be giving Westbrook. Because
Mm.
I feel like Coach Malone apparently was favoritizing
Yeah.
Westbrook. So I'm not sure how much play time he's going to get. But James Harden's just been going off, man, and Kawhi's back in playoff mode. He's ready to turn into the Terminator and go for another push.
Mm.
Um, I'm really keen for this series, and I really think it can go to 7. But I still think the Clippers can take them in 6. I'm not letting the MVP get swept or put away by
Yeah.
5. But
Yeah.
No.
it'll be hard for him to hold up. I know Jamal Murray's been pretty iffy recently. That whole team's just not in the right headspace at the
Yeah.
moment.
Bit of
So
shambles, to be honest.
yeah,
Just
it
gamble
sucks to
here.
see a week before playoffs, but things happen.
Things happen. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I think the Clippers will prevail, obviously.
Yeah,
That like ever since the mad winning streak they've been on, they've just been in playoff mode, as you said, beating really good teams pretty easily. Not easily, but like have been the better
putting up a
team.
good
Like they
fight.
had, yeah, great fight, and just have been the better team in those games. So I think I do have the Clippers there. So we put the Clippers through to the second round here, and it will be Thunder Clippers.
Gonna be a great series.
I think this would be a great series as well. I do think the Thunder do push through here. They are 3-1 against the Clippers in the regular season. The Clippers did take it to a close game in that loss, but I just think the Thunder do push through and win against the Clippers here. It's going to be just a massive factor of how well Shea plays, how well the Shea and the Thunder play under the spotlight in the playoffs here. Um, it's just a matter of playoff experience, and obviously Kawhi Leonard and how well he's going to perform as well for the Clippers. But I do see the Thunder winning, but also do see the Clippers winning. But I think I do just put the Thunder over the Clippers just purely on their defense and offense this whole regular season and how well they play to dominate against other teams.
Yeah, and I've got the Oklahoma City Thunder winning this series as well. I think they'll win in six or seven, probably seven games. Yeah, this the Thunder just like are so good, man. Like they do everything right. They've got the right coaching. You know, they all of them seem like they're best friends, which is what I said earlier about vibes. It's a big part of success if you've already got the right pieces there. Like obviously it's not everything, but it is something. They play really well together. As I mentioned earlier as well, they've blown out a lot of teams in the last 10 to 15 games this season in trying to push for the 70 wins. However, they didn't get it. But yeah, Shea, who would probably win MVP this year as well, I think he'll be too much to handle, as well as the supporting cast he has too. Yeah, he shouldn't probably win MVP. Probably should be Jokic, but we've touched on that already. But anyway, I think OKC will be too good. I think, yeah, they're too good. Too good for me.
Clippers in six. I'm calling it.
Let's
I just
go.
I just feel like Kawhi on Shea is a great matchup. Kawhi's very disciplined on defense for one. Shea, number two, is probably not going to get the foul call whistles he hopes for. Like I said, how can they adjust to all that versus the playoff experience both Harden and Kawhi have? Obviously, we know Harden hasn't won a championship, but he did go up against those pretty stacked Golden State Warriors teams. So he has definitely learned how to adjust. Um, like mentioned before, playoff basketball is a whole different game. I just feel like the Clippers, with their experience plus the momentum they're bringing into this series,
Mm.
if they do come out on top with Denver, I can see them coming out in six against OKC. I think OKC will burn themselves out. Um, Clippers in six. It's a hot take,
Yeah.
but
I
it's
like it. No,
definitely
I like it.
it's definitely there for an upset at the moment. So
I definitely feel like the Clippers could win for sure. I don't think the Thunder will burn out purely for the fact because they're so young and everyone on that team, especially Shea and J-Dub, are coming into their prime years. I think that you talk about momentum, or you look at their record in 68 and 14. That's pretty good momentum in my books. That I think they will come off a lot of rest because they will sweep or gentlemen sweep at most. In whoever they verse in the first round. So I feel like they'll be well rested, young, whereas the Clippers might get taken to six or seven. And they're a bit older. So you talk about momentum and stuff like that. I feel like Thunder will just kind of be up for the challenge. And I'm also kind of predicting and expecting that Thunder will rise to the occasion. I don't feel like, as much as it is a leap from the regular season to the playoffs in trying to prove something, I think they're good enough to sustain that and be make a really good playoff run. So I do have the Thunder um, coming out of the series. But on that point, Bray, I do feel like the Clippers could upset them for sure, definitely.
Just quickly, I think if the Thunder did verse the Nuggets in the first round and the Clippers versed the Grizzlies, it'd be a different story because the Clippers would probably flog the Grizzlies, as would the Thunder. But and the Thunder would be exhausted after playing against Jokic. Like a like number one player in the world. And that's what the Clippers are going to be. Like, I think they're going to be pretty well exhausted after coming out of that series and then going up against the top team in the league. Um, I think it's going to be tough for the Clippers to go and win this, but I can see it happening. But I do think the Thunder will be well rested and ready to play against the Clippers.
Um, that's exactly why I wanted the Warriors to face up against the Thunder because I have a feeling if they just face the Grizzlies, they're just going to be rested. Like they're going to be fully prepared for the Clippers. I feel like Warriors could smack them around a bit and get them tired, and Clippers could clean up. I'd really like to see Clippers take them in seven. I'm going to take them in seven underdogs. I really like them. I can't stand OKC. If that ref doesn't have his whistle in his mouth the whole time, Thunder will go out in six. But they're the number one seed. They are a really good put together team. Yeah.
You make that point though, right on the rest blowing on the whistle though. But I was speaking about this to a heap of people, and I think I mentioned in the podcast last week that
What was that?
Bro, he's a fraud. Cannot stand him, mate.
Even Hamish, I've spoken this about too. Like players are that skilled in the NBA that they know how to get the whistle, and that's what I mean. Shea leads the league in drives, and he's that shifty, creative off the dribble that he knows what position. Very similar to what Jimmy Butler does. Like once he has a player on the hip, he knows. If he goes up a certain way, he knows he's going to either make the basket or get a foul if they go to contest it. So I think you need to give Shea a bit more credit in the way that he gets to the rim and attacks, attacks the rim as well. But yeah, I definitely see the point. I feel like Clippers could definitely come out and beat them, but it's going to take a big ask, especially coming off first.
Definitely.
He's not 2018 James Harden, bro. He ain't even close.
Didn't say that.
Nah, I think
you
as
wanted
White
to.
said, as White said, I think if the Golden State do end up losing against Memphis and then playing against the Thunder in the first round, I think Golden State will smack them around a bit, and then I think Clippers do win and clean up against Thunder there. But if Thunder's versing either of the three teams left out of the Kings, Mavericks, and Grizzlies, I think they'll just be well rested, ready to play against the Clippers, and it'll be very tough for the Clippers to win. But yeah, obviously do have the Thunder here. Should we just put the Thunder because I think it. And we'll go to the Lakers Golden State here. Jesse, you were saying you would rather or the Lakers would rather see Timberwolves over Golden State here. I disagree. I think the Lakers would beat Golden State. Not easily, but I think Lakers do beat Golden State here in either 5 or 6. I'm not gonna lie. A sweep's crazy, but I do think 5 or 6. Lakers do beat Golden State. Yeah, it's just gonna be a good matchup though.
So I'm taking Golden State in 6 or 7. I'm obviously going to back my team.
6.
We've also...
Nothing.
No, we beat the Lakers. I know it's only one game in a regular season, but we versed them both teams fully healthy a week or two ago, and we beat them at LA too, coming off a back-to-back against Denver. So I do think I don't think us beating the Lakers is such a wild take. It's definitely a take, but I'm obviously going to back my team against anyone. So I reckon we could beat them. I feel like it's there. With Steph and Jimmy, you just never know. They're both elite playoff performers, elite scorers. We've shown that we can beat the Lakers at their home court. They can obviously beat us. So it's going to be a thriller, like another Steph and LeBron matchup. I'm honestly just excited to see that matchup. You don't know how many more of them matchups you're going to get. So obviously everyone wants to see the Lakers Warriors second round. But I'm going to back my team here. There's a lot's going to have to go right for us if we're going to come out on top against the Lakers. Like as I said before, Kuminga, Pajemski, and all those players coming off the bench for us, they're going to need to step up big time, and really kind of match what the Lakers do and just kind of lock in defensively. But I'm obviously going to back my team here in 7 games, probably.
Yeah, so when the Rockets make it to the versus the Lakers, I feel, sorry, bad cap. Um yeah. So um in your guys' ideal fantasy world of the Lakers and Warriors, uh, um it's definitely a tricky one. Like Jesse said, we won't have many more matchups of that um coming up again. Um but yeah, I genuinely out of those two I wouldn't know who to pick, to be honest. It's a both teams with a lot of experience, both teams a lot of great chemistry. So I'll probably go my Houston team in 5 here, but with those with those two, um, yeah,
Lakers, Warriors, buddy. Just choose one of them.
genuinely don't know.
We'll
I'm
come back. We'll come back.
extremely
We'll come back to you, bro. We'll go and
okay.
see.
Cool. That's all right, guys. I understand.
Well, no, you said you're on the
No,
fence.
no, 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 no. I totally understand. I'm picking the Lakers.
Oh, okay.
Tigers in 6.
Didn't mean it
Mm.
like that.
7.
I hope this isn't the last matchup between Steph and LeBron if it does happen. But it could be, and I really think they would put on a show. I'm joking. They wouldn't win it before. I don't think. I would hope so, but it wouldn't happen. It would go. I reckon it could go to 6 or 7, either team. But I feel like Lakers would be too good. Plus, Jimmy and Steph, if they're getting knocked around in these 2 games here, like
Mm.
they might not be healthy. And same with Lakers. I know Luka and LeBron haven't been the fittest recently, but things happen, and you never know what could happen. One injury can change this whole seeding playoff seed. Um, we hope that doesn't happen to any player, but
Yeah,
yeah,
obviously. Yeah.
I'm taking Lakers in 6.
W. And the conference finals, Thunder, Lakers. I think Thunder do finally make their finals run. They get to the finals and they beat the Lakers here. I'm not gonna lie. Um, I think it in probably 6. I think they do. If it goes to 7, I'll have the Lakers beating the Thunder. But just how good that offense and defense is on the Thunder, I think they do beat the Lakers here. And Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren will be massive impacts to
Yeah.
this series. And yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, Dob. I feel like Isaiah and Chet are going to be definitely the X factor in this series, considering of what Bray highlighted earlier, or we all highlighted earlier about the size problem at the center position for um, Lakers. Um, but yeah, with that being said, if it does go to 7 games, LeBron and Luka are 2 people you really, really don't want to go against, especially going into the finals as well. A game 7 where anything could happen, even if it's in OKC. Like LeBron's LeBron, we know what Luka can do, especially after seeing what he did last year with Dallas. Um, but yeah, if Lakers were to win, they would need to take it to 7, I feel, and it would take a Luka and LeBron masterclass. But ultimately, Thunder in 6, I've got as well.
Yeah, I picked Clippers to come through, but if we're going to do Thunder and Lakers, I feel like it's just the same thing with experience, man. Like the Lakers just have it between Luka and LeBron. They're both playoff performers too. Um, But the thing kind of looping back to what White said is the injuries we don't really know. LeBron's had a was it a groin
Yeah.
injury he had?
Mm.
Yeah.
We got to remember that too. He's probably going to be playing at 50%. Luca, let's hope he can step up for the first, second round, especially. So when it comes to when they really need LeBron, he's there healthy. But if LeBron, obviously, we definitely hope not. But if he does go down, that could shake up a lot of things. From the beginning of this episode at the West to what we said. But if all players are healthy, I've got between those two matchups, I've got Lakers coming out in six.
Right. If 40-year-old Jessica Alba rocks up at all four of them games, Lakers sweeping. They are going to sweep the OKC. If Jessica Alba's at their games again, they're done for, bro. In all honesty, I'm going with the Lakers. I'm rooting against them. They got LeBron, AD. Shit. They got they got Luca, and I reckon Lakers and Clippers are the only, and Warriors if they're healthy, potential teams that can knock down the Thunder. I'm taking Lakers in seven, and Jessica Alba needs to be courtside. Luca's
Yeah,
dropping 60.
definitely. Yeah.
Trust.
Um, just for this video's purposes, I'll put the Thunder because they are the highest seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Unfortunately. So the finals matchup, all we're here for, is going to be Thunder Celtics in our
Easy.
opinions. I
Celtics in
think
six.
I'm happy to go Celtics here in six.
Celtics and
Um,
six.
I'd hope so.
I'm going against you here. The
Go on
OKC.
Thunder. Yeah,
They're
wow.
so
Nah.
cringe.
Part of me also just wants to see someone else win it too. Like I'd love to see
Agreed. Yeah.
the young dogs win it. I love Shea, I love J Dub, like I love OKC. Um, I really want them to win, so I'm going to back them to win. I do think they could win. I feel like if the Celtics are going to get beaten, I feel like the Thunder do match up really, really well against them, especially with Chet and Isaiah, as what we said, being the X factor in the conference finals. Again, they're going to be an X factor in every series, but if they make it to the finals, theoretically speaking, against the Celtics, they're going to have to really, really help Shea and J Dub up to space and stretch the floor for him and give them the help they need to kind of take some of that defensive pressure off them because, as what I think it was Braden highlighted earlier, they've got very good defensive guards in Drew Holiday and Derek White that could very well limit Shea and J Dub in what they're doing if Chet and Isaiah and Lou Dort and Isaiah Joe, like the supporting cast of OKC, do get bottled up. So, with that being said, I do have the Oklahoma City Thunder beating the Celtics in 7 games.
You go, bro. I'll go last.
Yeah, I've just got the Celtics in six there. Um, I mean, OKC were a second round exit for me, but for video purposes, Celtics in six, defensive guards, defensive minded team, good offense, good chemistry, everyone can score, everyone can space the floor. Very, very important things. There's a lot of champions on that team. Drew Holiday is a champion player, as we know as well. Um, there's just not as much championship experience on the Thunder. Um, that's pretty well all. Like it all comes just down to experience as well. After at the end of the day, like how many teams do we see as young as the Thunder are that have gone on to win a title? Like a young seeded team that have gone on to win a title. Um, that haven't failed before in the playoffs. Like, I wouldn't want to say that Thunder's last season kind of was a fail because it was their first year in the playoff from memory
No,
since kind of the rebuild,
no,
since
Oh
Chris
no, no,
Paul.
no.
no. Chris
Uh, uh,
Paul
uh,
took him.
No, no,
yeah,
yeah,
Chris
sorry,
Paul.
before Chris Paul, I mean, because after Chris Paul, they kind of
Oh, before
went back
before Chris
downhill.
Paul, I don't think that had anything. So
No, sorry, since Chris Paul. Sorry, English isn't here at the moment. Since Chris Paul, they've only been to the playoffs once since Chris Paul,
Yeah,
which was last
once
year.
or once or twice, I think. Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to say any of those years have been a failure. It's similar to what we're seeing with the Pistons and stuff and the Rockets. No matter how they go, it's not really a failure. Um, but it's just we haven't seen many young seeded teams as young as OKC. And I wouldn't say inexperienced, but they're just versing a lot of teams that have experience, that have older guys that have won titles and stuff. So for me, that in my opinion, that makes a difference. So I'd have Celtics and six there.
Yeah. Nice.
I got Celtics in 6 or 7. Um, Obviously they're the champs. I just feel like they're both stacked, but I like the Drew Holiday matchup a lot, and obviously Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum's going to get the Finals MVP this year. I think he deserved it last year. Hot take. I think he clearly did.
I think that is a hot take.
Man, I really do not want to see this team win the Finals. Okay, so
I just want to go back to Bray's point on experience. I completely agree with what you're saying. I just don't feel like as much as Drew Holiday and that have that experience, I feel like we haven't really seen the consistency. Like I'm just kind of thinking about the production of Drew Holiday and Derek White offensively, like coming into like versing a team like OKC that are like top 3 in defensive rating this year. Like I think like they've struggled to get going all season long, and if they can't find a groove in the playoffs, I don't see them coming into the finals and getting in their groove against a team that is very, very, very good and one of the best, like well, the best team um, in the league this year. So I know the experience is a big thing though because the Celtics have obviously been to the finals in like the last 3 years, like twice. But with the experience, I think there was a massive learning curve for the Thunder this year. I don't feel like they're getting too complacent either. I feel like, from what I'm hearing in interviews and media and stuff like that, that the Thunder are up for the challenge this year, and this is the year I expect them to win it. I think they're going to go all the way this year. I think they'll outplay the Celtics. It's a hot take because of like what the Celtics have done in the past, but I feel like it's there for them to win it this year. Okay, see if they can get it right in the playoffs. I feel like you put your trust in Shea, you put your trust in Mike Dagnott and the supporting cast they've got. I think they're very deep. Someone we kind of didn't mention earlier off the bench for Thunder, like someone like Aaron Wiggins, who's also been dropping 20 and 30 bombs, here and there. Like, I really like the Thunder in this series. I really like the way they match up against um, the Celtics.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah, I'm going Celtics. I think just experience. So, yeah. Wow. All
Shay's
done.
got Shay's got no aura.
We'll wrap it up here, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you, Wyatt, for hopping
Thanks
on
for
the
having me,
pod
guys.
for a big episode. Yeah, good work, good work.
I can't
Thanks,
clap
guys.
about it. My hands fuck.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Jesse and Braden, thanks for hopping on and doing the podcast as always. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks, guys.